What's happening? I'm here with Dennis Annenson from A&B Business Solutions. That's where you know him from. I know him as a big time author here. So how are you, Dennis? Good to see you.
I'm good, Andy. I'm really good up here in South Dakota.
South Dakota. How's South Dakota? It's really hot here in Rochester. What are you guys doing with right now?
It's a beautiful summer day, about 75 degrees, sun shining. It's just a great day in the
Well,
summer.
it's getting to be our time. I agree. We wait all year for this, and here we are. And so let's just jump into it. Hemingway, Steinbeck, Annenson.
Yeah,
We got one of the three great American authors on our podcast today, and you wrote a little book called Bring It On.
bring it on.
And I wanted to kind of talk to you about the book, kind of talk to you about A&B, what you're doing with yourself. The book is awesome. I haven't actually read through too much. I started and then put it down, but I did love some of the names I saw in there. I saw Mr. Mike Reardon's name in there. He did a little comment on it for you. Steve Rolla did your foreword,
Yeah,
which I thought
yeah.
was very cool. Um, I'm just gonna say it now. The book is about your 52 favorite podcasts, and I happened to notice that I was not listed as one of the 52 favorite podcasts. So maybe we can start our interview with that little tension to start things off. That's the concept, though, right? The concept was you took these podcasts that you enjoyed and you wove them into this book. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, and I still continue to do the podcast, and we're going to do a second book with 52 more when I get some time here. But I send out a weekly podcast. It's on Monday. It's called the Monday Morning Mindset, and they go out. It's a way to start your week with a positive attitude, and that's I try to help a lot of people to learn how to have the right attitude every day of my life, and give them the right leadership. And a few years ago, we started the podcast probably 4 years ago. Every week, it's about 2 to 3 minutes. It's called Bring It On Monday, and it we have a lot of people that run their weekly meetings on it. That's why we send it out on Monday, because a lot of weekly meetings are done in companies on Monday morning. And I can't tell many companies that I know that use my Monday morning mindset for their weekly employee meetings and have conversation.
Well, I see why it would be great for Monday morning. I've mentioned it before. I used to sell, and we did have those Monday morning meetings. We had Monday morning and Friday afternoon, and just some of the topics here: 10 principles of Nike. These are your chapters. Week one after your prologue. Better under pressure, clear vision, dopamine, exercise for your brain. These are all just really nice topics. They're short chapters, so for someone like me, right, they're easy to get through. Um, what was the idea behind this? You're doing this podcast, and what made you decide to just, I'm gonna weave all this into a little bit of a story, a book. What was the thought behind that?
Well, the thought was is the book, and as you can see, it's almost made like a workbook. So people can buy the book, and everybody can have the book, and they can read it in advance and listen to Bring It On Monday. And then they have a workbook with comments and then go back to. And the reason I started Bring It On Monday, there's a huge problem in our country with the communication model and with people communicating because they don't know the correct way to communicate in a lot of cases are the right things to say. And when you create conversation, and it's no fault of anyone's, but we're all brought up in different homes, different households, different cultures. And sometimes the communication model starts when you're very young, and people aren't their development isn't done very well because of some of the leadership they grow up around, right? And this tries to take them and to move that communication model of how to communicate better. Because, and you know this, Andy, by being in sales in the past and still are really, that it's not what you say, it's how you say it, and it's the approach. And a long time, and probably my mentor of my life, Mike Reardon, used to talk about approach. approach, need determination, present, close, handle objections. And when you learn how to stay in approach in any conversation, it doesn't matter if it's in business, it doesn't matter if it's with your friends, it doesn't matter if it's in your home life, right? And it goes back to the communication model of and continue to developing your skill set on it. And the problem is that a lot of people skip approach and go into present. They present, and I call it verbal vomit of people that they verbally vomit all over you, and it has to do with also the disc profile and people's personalities, and it helps the people that create too much conversation how to control the approach, stay in approach, develop the questions, and you layer them down and down and down, and in the sales process, whenever I've sold most of my life, I never talk about the product until the last 10 minutes of the meeting. And that's because they're wanting to know what I'm there for. And I don't even tell them a lot of cases, right? And that's how you build relationships, because people don't want to hear about me. They want to tell their story. It goes back to like when you're a kid, show and tell that we all had in school, right? And I think it's important. And it's important in so many ways in business, but so many ways in our personal life. And it's you got to develop that skill set. And this is just a tool, another tool to help them improve and develop their skill sets.
Well, Mike Reardon built the skill set. I would call it the manual on it, right? I mean, he's just his influence and impact in this industry is legendary, and there's just dozens of people who are out there doing and living it. You know what he taught them back in the day. Um, it's it's timeless. It's timeless sales. Uh, Instruction, I guess, is what it is, right? How to talk to
Mhm.
people, how to prospect, how to run your business, how to run your day. Um, when did you go through his teachings, his instruction?
I got in this space of office equipment, and I was hired in 84, 1984. I went to work in 85, and I was hired through the Reardon process. And it meshed with me so well because that was my philosophy even before I met Mike Reardon about approach. And he just took it home. And I'm telling you, he's been one of the bigger reasons for my success in all our companies that we've been successful with. And he was a master at it. And if you've been to his seminars, you remember him standing up in the chair.
Yes.
And I still talk to Mike quite often, even though he's retired. And but it's so true. And when you stay in approach, you develop the relationship, and you find out about the people, and you find out what really triggers them, and where they're at on the disc profile for one, so you know they're how fast they're going to buy or if they want more information. And it's all tied together, and it's a lifelong learning experience for myself.
That disc profile, it's funny you mentioned that. We actually years ago we used to be a reseller of that, and man, that so when I came to work here with my dad, he made me take that, and I could not believe how accurate that, it's a psychological report on you. You fill out you answer a bunch of questions that feel like they have nothing to do with anything, and then you get a report that is, I mean, it was so dead nuts on. It was kind of horrible for me. I didn't want anybody to ever see that. How to manage Andy is basically what it was, and it looks at
Yeah.
all your shortcomings, your strengths, but it knows you better than yourself, right? I mean, just some of your tendencies, what things you'll avoid. And for someone using that, really, it just helps a manager get out in front of it and really, I think, understand how do I effectively manage this person. So that approach, is that how integral is that into what you do, into this book, into what A&B does?
Well, it all ties together, and it's continual learning. But I mean, we do disc profiles there in our company. and then we'll have meetings in the teams that those people are involved in, and it improves communication within those teams and even our executive teams, that you understand why their behavior on the communication model the way it is, where they fall in the DISC profile, and it'll tell you. And we go around and we do roundtables with the DISC profile, and extremely helpful. We have a lot of employees in our company that have done their families, and they have family meetings on the DISC profile. I mean, it's crazy, and they've come back to me, and I mean, we help them out getting their profiles done with their spouse or their significant other and their children, and they'll say, "I can't believe how much this has helped our communication in our family," because you understand why their behavior is such when you're having that communication. And but it ties back to my podcast, and it ties back to just trying to make people the thought process. And we're taught a lot of bad things and good things growing up. You take the good things and you try to improve on the bad things and change that behavior that you've been inundated with as a child, and usually formulated in our early years of our life.
Well, I love the idea of the disc profiles, and I would be honestly, I'd be a little scared to use them here around my house. I think my wife would take advantage of it. But they're just so darn effective. I can't even believe I can't believe how accurate it was on just talking about my tendencies. Before we forget, I want to do a little shout out. Tell me a little bit about A&B. You got a whole team over there, and that's where I met you. That's been a big part of your career, right? That's your baby. So
Yeah,
A&B
yeah.
Business Solutions. Tell me about that endeavor.
I bought A&B. It was started in 1982 by two people. A&B came from Art Sinke and Bill Kreminga. I bought the company September 1st of 1993. We had 5 employees, and we grew it immediately because I came from the sales background in another office equipment space, and I learned what not to do. And I always said, if I had my own company, here's what I would not do, and here's what I would do. And the not to do was a lot longer list in those companies I worked for. And we bought A&B. We grew. We have, I think, 18 offices now in South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming, Iowa, Minnesota, and we're I call us rural. We cover the rural markets. You know, there's only 900,000 people that live in South Dakota, and there's about 800,000 in North Dakota. So, we're dealing with small markets, but we have a huge market share, and we've developed it through relationships, and we have several thousand customers. When I bought A&B, they had you'll laugh at this one, Andy. They were a Panasonic copier dealer, and they sold typewriters and calculators, and they had 50 Panasonic copiers placed in the field. And I think our number is pretty big. We have thousands. I think we're approaching 17,000 units in the
Wow.
field, and we dominate our market. We dominate the market share. We represent great manufacturers, and then we have our IT business tied to it. We do a lot of water and coffee. We have a whole team of people that sell water and coffee in offices, and we have some brand name coffees we sell. And then besides that, we do some furniture, not a lot. We do promo, but we do a lot of things. And there's a lot of other companies that I've acquired over the years, and we take our model and implement it in other industries, and it works very well.
Very cool. Well, so you created this podcast. Is this something you were just doing for your internal organization? Were you putting these together for your own meetings, or this a spare time kind of thing? How did you evolve this idea that eventually became a book, starting with the podcast? How did this all come together?
It started with another consultant that we use and still use in South Dakota. that we started talking about it. That starting the podcast not only internally to send the message, and then we started offering it to our customers, and all of a sudden we had people signing on to it, loving it. So, then we still promote Bring It On Mondays, which anybody can listen in. They can register for Bring It On Mondays, and it's easily done, and use it. And It's kind of various ways. It started through relationships and talking with people and staying in approach. And what if we did this? What if we did that? How about that? How could and at the end of the day, it's about helping people, and that's why my book is called Bring It On, because we have this philosophy at A&B in all our businesses. Hey, if we can't help you, you bring it on. Bring it on to us. We'll find a solution, and whether we can help you with that area or whether we can't. And we have a lot of relationships in our marketplace with a lot of other businesses, and a lot of people do. A lot of people ask us, "Hey, who do you use for this? Who do you use for that?" Because we vet people pretty hard too, in our business. So it's just at the end of the day, it's about listening to your people, your customers, and what they need and what they want. Because everybody needs help, no matter who you are. Anybody that says they're a perfect communicator, I wouldn't believe them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Everybody can use a little bit of help, and especially when you're going down something, you're trying to do something for the first time. So your book, Bring It On. I'm gonna include the link to your podcast so people can subscribe to it when they watch this. I do love the little on off button.
You like that? You
That was
like
a little
that?
throwback to the copiers, I think. So 52 ways leaders think, grow, and win in business life. And you better read it fast because there's going to be another 52 coming and you're going to be behind. So um,
Hey,
is there a way people can buy this
and,
book if they want
uh,
it?
yeah, you can buy it on Amazon. That was the other thing. It was when we introduced it, became a number one seller on Amazon, and the ninth best business book ever sold on Amazon,
No
right out of the
kidding.
chute. Yeah, and you got the original copy. You don't have one that says the Amazon bestseller on it
Oh,
that you have there,
I got the
but
first printing. I got a first
well,
print.
yeah, you did. You got the first printing. It became an Amazon bestseller, and but even more than that, a little country boy here in South Dakota, ninth best selling book on Amazon and I'm competing with a lot of people.
Yeah, man, you
So
and Mark Twain, baby. You're up there with
I,
some big names.
I wouldn't say that, but
I
we're,
got a few
we're
of them
proud
up
of it.
there, Mr. Chernally. There's some good authors out there. You're right up there, number nine. That's not too
Yeah,
shabby, Dennis.
no, not too bad, but
So we'll put I will list the full name and a link to Amazon so anyone watching this can get it. I will have you guys, your team, send me a link to your podcast registration so people are able to sign up for it and maybe use it for their own Monday morning meetings and or whatever morning meetings. Is this something that's unique? I should have asked you this earlier, but is this unique to our industry, or are these podcasts just sort of open-ended and something that anybody can use?
anybody can use it for any industry, and it's about business, and it's about family, and it's about people, you know,
Yeah,
and it's for everyone. And you got to keep learning and developing your skill set your entire life,
I
and it's
agree.
what keeps your positive attitude, keeps you going every day.
Yes, sir. Reading is a great way to do it, and this book is right up our alley. It's made for it comes out of our industry. You'd be kind of silly not to read it. I'm going to finish it sometime in the very near future. Dennis, thanks so much for coming on today. I appreciate you taking the time, and we're going to do another one of these when your second book comes out. I look forward to it.
That'd be great, Andy. Appreciate your time.
Great seeing you. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.